Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the success story session. So we have with us Mr. Haokip, who has cleared the NABARD Grade A 2022, and he has a big achievement. He has a very great story to tell, and he will be able to tell his strategy. He is not from the agriculture background. Still, he was able to clear the NABARD Grade A post, and he has become the NABARD officer without agriculture background, and he has quite a struggleful story, I can say. So let's understand about his strategy. Let's understand about his struggles, how he was able to overcome those struggles, and how he cleared the NABARD Grade A. First of all, heartiest congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, EduTap team. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So now, for first of all, for the students, like, can you tell about your educational background?
Yes, ma'am. Firstly, my name is Thangkhokai Haokip. So I am from a far rural village of Manipur, and currently I'm at Delhi. So I did my BTech from electrical engineering background, and after my BTech, I came into UPSC preparation. So it's been a long journey, a long and strenuous journey for the last 5 years. And so I came upon this opportunity of NABARD. So this is my second attempt and my second interview, and luckily I can convert this time and finally with a great side of the lead. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is really great. And this was your second NABARD interview. So in the previous attempt also, you were able to clear the pre and mains. So that is really nice that in first attempt, you were able to clear the pre and mains and without the agriculture background, I can say. So now coming to your family background, how happy your family was, what was the reaction of your family when they came to know that you have become the NABARD officer? Can you tell about that?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, when I got into interview last year, I informed my family that I'll be going for interview. I have clear mains. Now I'll be in for interview. But finally, when interview final result came, I was not in the list. So there was a very sad experience for me as well as for my family. So this time I keep to myself about this attempt. I don't uh, talk about this to my parents. So only when the final result came, I informed my family. So it was a great relief for my family, and my mom, especially my mom. She's very happy. She's quite old, and yeah, it's a great moment for me, for my family. Yeah.
And what motivated you to join NABARD to give this exam?
Yes, ma'am. I mentioned earlier about my background. I am born and brought up from a far rural village. So we used to practice agriculture. Till now, we are doing agriculture. We usually say zooming cultivation or say shifting cultivations in Northeast.
Okay.
So I'm following that practice. We are a family having agriculture as the main occupation. So while NABARD is doing for, the main mission and vision of NABARD is about agriculture and rural prosperity. So it is with this mission and vision that I can align this vision and mission with my background, with my occupation. So I find myself very suitable for this job because I can deliver excellent result. I follow the rural prosperity. So NABARD is the right body and the right institution for me. And this is when I prepare for this exam. And finally, yeah, I can be in on the office.
True,
Hope
true.
I can deliver what I'm thinking for the last 2 years. Yeah.
So now coming to your journey, like the struggles that you have faced, especially like preparing for the UPSC, and then you also gave the SEBI mains, and then coming to NABARD. So I can say it is a long journey, 3-4 years of the hard work you have done and the dedication that you have shown. So what struggles you faced and how you were able to overcome those struggles?
Right, ma'am. Being into UPSC for the last 4 or 5 years, of course, I have written mains thrice, but I could not be in the final list due to some constraints. So it's a very strenuous journey. So there are ups and downs in this journey. So there are many issues. I mean, once we get into UPSC, it's very difficult to get back. And it's very easy to get trapped in this journey. So let me say that NABARD is also in some way more civil service than the UPSC itself. If we can work for rural prosperity and there is more ground connection, so it is more or less the same. I'm doing the same civil and social service through this NABARD. This is the main motivation. So there will be many hardships, there may be many difficulties, but this motivation or these inner thoughts and driving has led me to this NABARD. And yes, by the grace of God, yeah, I can finally achieve this result.
And that is so good to see that coming from the rural background and coming from the agricultural background, understanding the problems that those areas have, and then joining NABARD. Of course, you will be a great asset, I can say, to the office. And now becoming the NABARD officer is itself a very big thing, and you have achieved that. Now there is a problem that comes about the motivation. So how you kept your motivation high?
Yes, ma'am. Let me say that I am the first generation in our family who got into government job. And our areas, the areas or the district which I'm from, we are mainly agriculture oriented economy. So this is the reason that what I am trying to contribute. God willing, I'm willing to change in my capacity the face of agriculture in my areas. So this has led me to work harder and do my maximum to achieve this position. And I'm really proud that EduTap is, materials provided by EduTap are my primary source. And I'm happy to be a part of EduTap and hope I can deliver what I'm thinking in this position as an NABARD officer.
Yes. So what we can say is that you should have a particular aim, like the what we can say in Hindi, that aag hai andar to karna hai. So that is the fire inside you that kept you motivated. So you have to find that fire inside you. It can be like you have said that you wanted to promote like your area, or not area particularly, but the agriculture field, as well as you wanted to like change and modernize the agricultural field. And for that, that fire inside you kept burning, and you started with the UPSC, and now you are in NABARD. So that fire should be inside you, and that should motivate. That is the reason for your motivation. If you do not have the fire inside you, the motivation will not remain with you. You will at some point you will feel disheartened, and you will leave the journey, or that you will not be able to concentrate as much as you were doing before. So that is so true coming from you, that you kept yourself motivated because you had that fire inside you. You had that particular reason that this is why I want to do this, and this is why I will do this. So now coming to, I think that we have talked about your journey, and we have talked about the struggles, how you overcame them. So now coming to the strategy. So let's start with the phase 1 strategy, and let's start with the qualifying section. So that is the quant, reasoning and English, and decision making and the computer knowledge. So can you tell a little about those 5 subjects, that what were your strategy for those?
Yes, ma'am. Regarding phase 1, we know there are qualifying and merit sections. So qualifying QLE, quant, reasoning, English, decision making, computers. So I make notes. My aim is to qualify this portion. And regarding decision making, I make notes. I solve mock questions. And regarding computer, I bought one Arahan book, computer awareness. So that is quite sufficient apart from materials provided by EduTap and the MCQs. So I try to solve, I try to have a concept on all these QLE and solve maximum questions. And regarding merit section, about ALD, ESI, and general awareness. This ALD becomes very harder for me
Yeah.
because I'm quite unfamiliar with these topics. So it is more static oriented. So I make notes from the summary sheet provided by EduTap. I maintain separate note for AID. So after making notes, I solve MCQ. And then I joined the muscle MCQ course of EduTap.
Okay.
So that way I can diversify the knowledge or say the areas where probable question can come. So regarding this static, whenever something or some areas which seems very difficult comes, I make notes. So I revise it multiple times. There is no other method. I mean, I cannot find any other ways. How can I remember all these things? So by making notes and by solving MCQs, this is the strategy. And if I can continue for ESI.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and ESI is more about current related economic and social issues, which I may say quite aware of all these issues from my UPSC preparation. So I do make from budget survey, PIB, and other data released by different ministry, agricultural or rural development ministry. So I solve MCQ. So then is the strategy for ALD and ESI. And regarding current affairs for prelims, I follow EduTap monthly magazine. So I make notes from EduTap monthly magazine, and then I solve the MCQs provided by EduTap as well as through the muscle pack MCQ. Yes, ma'am, this is the strategy for my prelims.
That is really nice. And you were quite thorough with providing the strategy. So for the qualifying section, for the 5 subjects, I can say that you were mainly focusing on the MCQs and you were mainly focusing on the practice, I can say, especially for the QRE, for the decision making, for the computer knowledge, you were making your notes, you were revising. Now coming to that is qualifying. So you have to know about your strengths and weaknesses, and there is the sectional cutoff, like the subject cutoff also. So you have to focus on each and every subject also, because if you leave the decision making, I have seen a lot of students of ours and a lot of students around me that got stuck by 0.5 marks in decision making. Their overall cutoff is clear and everything in the prelims. So that is quite heartbreaking, because only one subject, only 0.5 or only 0.25 marks is stopping you. So you have to focus on each and every subject. Like you have also said that you focused on computer knowledge, you focused on decision making, and you have to know about your strengths and weaknesses only. Now coming to the merit section, that is ARD, ESI, and the general awareness. You have said that revision, making notes, revising, doing the MCQs is very important. Now for ARD, that is not your background also, and you were making notes, you were practicing a lot, and that is all you can do, because you have to understand, you have to make notes, you have to practice a lot. Now coming to ESI and general awareness, you have told that again, revising is the key, facts and figures are there. But how many months of the ESI, the current affairs for the ESI and the general awareness should be done for the phase 1?
Right, yeah. There is no one best approach, I should say. However, it is important that NABARD or other regulatory body exams, there is cutthroat competition. You cannot ignore the importance of 1 mark or 0.5 marks.
True.
As you mentioned about decision making, it is very important, and it's heartbreaking to see that some other candidates miss by 0.25, 0.5 marks. So, and coming to general awareness, and yes, I try to do maximum, say about 7-8 months, and some other candidates may do up to 6 months or say 10 months, but 6 months should be compulsory, and within 6 months, the latest 3 months should be thoroughly and extensively covered. So most of the questions, are covered of the latest 3 months. However, it can go up to 6 months or 8-9 months.
Okay.
So we should keep in mind the importance of MCQ, the importance of 1 mark. That can make a lot of difference.
True.
Yes, ma'am.
So the 3 months should be.
And if I may add, regarding static portion,
Hmm,
uh, there are many different terms, say animal husbandry,
hmm,
about the different breeds of animals. It is very difficult to memorize. And about the plant diseases, it is very difficult to memorize. What I do is that I make notes. I maintain separate sheet for all these difficult terms and
okay.
do revision every night before I sleep
Hmm.
so that I can memorize it and I can deliver in the exam hall. Yes, ma'am.
So we can say for the general awareness and for the ESI current affairs, the 3 months you have to do extensively, that is near the exam. And above that, you can go to 6 months, but you have to remember that these are the important topics for the later months. Now,
Right.
coming to the schemes. So usually like it has a big portion in the ESI and it is also in the ARD section of the phase one. So how, like which schemes are important? How many months of the scheme should be done? Usually the students have this query.
Right, ma'am. For ESI as well as ALD, scheme is one very critical component. So I have been doing schemes even during my UPC preparation. However, the pattern is different, quite
Hmm,
different. In regulatory body exam, we need to remember facts. We
true.
need to remember what are the ministries or agencies or department. So all these should be remembered. And for this, I once again, I say that I make notes.
Hmm,
I make notes for the most important 50 schemes. I maintain notes. What are the department? What is the aim of this scheme? Which agency or which department is implementing it? What I mean, what ministry is doing this one? And what are the allocated funds?
hmm,
Who are the beneficiaries? And this data, I make notes and I revise it. So I mean, most importantly for NABARD Agricultural Ministry, Rural Development Ministry, and for ESI about Women Ministry, Family and Health Ministry, all this should be covered extensively and try to see the previous year questions. What are the trends being asked? And from that, you can know how to proceed. Yeah, one
okay.
should do at least 6 months of the last 6 months of schemes and the latest release, and then from PIB, one should be quite thorough in these areas.
Okay. So now I think we have covered the important parts of the phase one. Now we can move to the phase two. So
Right.
starting with the descriptive English writing. So usually in the UPSC, we have the, like you have the practice of writing it, but now the typing comes in NABARD exams. So how much of the typing practice is important?
Yes, right, ma'am. Uh, yeah, this is this is the different what makes this Alabat or say RBI or other exam with UPSC. In UPSC, we write with pen and paper, but in NABARD, one needs to know how to type and how much I mean the speed per minute should be maintained. So luckily, I have this typing practice during my college. So and during my UPC preparation, I used to type a lot. So it is not a big difficult for me, I should say. But those fellow aspirants should remember that even if you maintain all the notes, it's not possible to deliver in the exam hall with a very less time and with much pressure, intense moment. So we should practice typing. Uh, Suppose in descriptive part we have the one limit is 2,000 within 1 hour. So we should keep in mind all these things and practice a lot,
Okay.
right?
And now in the descriptive writing, descriptive English writing. So what was your strategy for that? That I will do essay first or Pressy first, and how you managed that descriptive English writing?
Yes, ma'am. English descriptive is very important. It carries 100 marks.
Hmm,
And within that, there is essay, letter writing, and precis. Regarding essay, one should one should know that preparing GS or say preparing for ALD and ESI is at the same time preparing for essay. So we should remember that when we study ALD or ESI related issue, there is no need to go separately for essay and all these things. And regarding my strategy, I make separate notes. I maintain about 20-30 most probable topics. So upon that topics, I collected facts and regarding the ministry or the latest programs. So I maintain at least 4 or 5 facts for one essay or one topics, so that I can expand it during my essay. So once you don't have a proper facts or data or say committee reports, it is very difficult to create a good quality content.
True.
So it should be very generalized. It will get average mark, so that wouldn't work to get to be in the final list. So we should try to make facts data collection. And regarding letter writing, yeah, I read sample letter writing provided by EduTap about different issues. So one need to know the structure properly, and then should see the different areas, the different parts of the answer. And regarding pre writing, one should read the passes very minutely. Once you know what is the core message or what is the core content of the passes, you can extract the real meaning.
True.
Yeah, that is my strategy, man.
So I think we have discussed about the strategy for the descriptive writing. Sir has said a very good strategy and the key points that for the essay, you have to focus on some factual information. Also, there are some data points also, like for the women empowerment, that what schemes are there, what additional points are there, what the government is doing, what different departments are doing. So some factual things should also be there to make your answer, to make your essay very strong and not very generalized. Now coming to letter writing, sir has said that you have to be very thorough about the structure, because in letter that is the most important thing and the first thing that the examiner will see. Then coming to Pressy, first of all, you have to read the passage very minutely, very thoroughly, then only you will understand that what it is trying to say. So I think we have covered the English descriptive very well. Now moving towards the ARD part. Now ARD is again not your domain. Now you have to write answers regarding the agriculture and the rural development. So how hard it was, how you were able to manage that?
Right. Regarding ALD descriptive, as you said, it is more about static oriented paper. So I make notes. I maintain separate notebooks. So, and very importantly, EduTap has provided us model answers for different topics in the syllabus. So I utilize that materials. I make Q&A, notes for about 50 to 60 questions for ARD. So what are the issues in these areas? What are the programs released in these areas? And even factual information. So I make notes. I make most important 50, 60 topics or questions in ALD, and I revise it multiple times. And I try to do value addition when I come across any new issues or any new areas. So in that way, making notes and revising it multiple times, yeah, I manage it that way, ma'am.
Okay. So for the ARD, you were making notes, you were revising them again and again, because when a subject is not your domain, then you have to do a lot of the practice and you have to do a lot of the revision. That is the key. That is how you will be able to understand that subject. As well as you said that you practice 50 to 60 questions and you practice 50 to 60 topics, I can say. So that is the hard work as well as the smart work shows, because without practice, it becomes very hard for you to understand the topics in the exam or what to write. As well as you are seeing the model question and answers, that okay, I have to frame the answers in this way, because for the NABARD or for regulatory body exam, the type of answers that you have to give is quite difficult, different, I can say, because here more factual information has to be provided and the key points has to be provided. So that is
Right.
a very good strategy. That is a very good thing, that you have to do the practice, you have to do the revision a lot. Now coming to the ESI part, so that is mostly current affairs. So how you were able to manage that?
Yes, ma'am. Regarding ESI, it is, as you have mentioned, it is more related to current affairs, current issues. So, being preparing for UPSC, I have my notes. These ESI portions is more or less within the portions of GS3 in UPSC. So, I make notes from the summary sheet provided by EduTap, and then I combine it with my UPSC notes, and all the suppose economic issues and social issues, poverty, development, all these things I make notes as similar with ALD.
Hmm.
And it is important to cite data points and facts in this ESI in order to fix better marks. Yeah, one should make exhaustive notes and one should follow one proper magazine in order to minimize any exclusion error. One should see what are the latest issues happenings in the country. And apart from EduTap material, I follow one monthly magazine of UPSC, that Vision IAS monthly magazine. I make notes that economy portions.
Hmm.
So in this way, I can do value addition, and after multiple revision, yeah, I can manage and I can deliver. Yes.
Okay. And like in the phase one, you have said that the ESI is 6 months, or the extensively you have to do 3 months. What do you think about the ESI for the phase two? That how many months of the current affairs should be done for the phase two?
For descriptive parts, I think it should not be based on 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. It should be the issues, the current issues. What are the issues in the economy? What are the issues in the agriculture
Hmm.
or social issues? Say the last 10 months, even 10 months, we can stretch. So it should be issue based and issue wise.
Okay.
So one may have different opinion, but that is my strategy. Yes.
Hmm. That is a good strategy, that at least the issues should be done from the past 10 months, because they are the big issues that then only they are coming in the newspapers or in the magazines. So those
Yeah.
you should at least do very thoroughly, and you should have the analytical and the understanding of that issue. So now I
And
think.
for that, ma'am, one should follow one business or one economics dailies,
Hmm.
and in order to get updated or what are the issues happening in the country. So I follow business lines, and I from that I know what is important, what is happening in the country, and accordingly I make notes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now I think we can move to the third phase, that is the interview. And anything you want to add for the phase one or the phase two before moving to the phase three or the interview part?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Every other may have different opinions, but one should see that making notes and making multiple revision is very important, because hardly we have 1 month between prelims and mains.
Hmm.
So it is not, normally possible for us to start making notes after prelims and then qualifying and become successful. So one should make notes. One should make notes and one should do multiple revisions. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, that is a very good strategy, as well as a message to the students that you should be able to do, you should be able to revise a lot, because for the mains you won't have that much time that you will bring out all the materials and you will start revising then. So now I
Right.
think we can move to the phase three, that is the interview part. So did you give any mock interview before going for the final interview?
Right, ma'am. I gave 3 or 4 mocks interview.
Okay.
So after preparing notes, especially the NABARD websites,
Hmm.
the different departments, different functions of NABARD, and then the annual report of NABARD. So these two are a must. One should do it, and then after that, one should do say some mocks in order to get experience. Yeah, I give 3 or 4 mocks before attending the final interview.
Okay. And how important do you think are mock interviews before going for the final interview?
Yes, ma'am. When I went for the first interview, I prepared my notes from a website and another report. However, I'm unable to express during my mock interview. So it is important that one should experience these things first before the final day, in order to cope up with what are the kind of questions, surprise questions, questions from different areas. So one should try and see first how is the experience before the final interview day, and this make us more confident. Uh, this make us boost our confidence and maintain the stability. Yes.
Okay. So now I think we can move to the final interview part. That how was the interview? How was the panel? What were the kind of questions?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the panel will same this year and last year. So when they see my biodata, they are able to recognize me, and the chairman asked me whether I am coming for the candidate interview for the last year. So there was quite positive vibe in the conference room. So firstly, I was asked to introduce and why NABARD and how can I contribute, and then about the Marandi ma'am asked me about the financial functions of NABARD,
Hmm.
and there were some cross questions from chairman, and lastly the other panel asked me about what are the schemes, what are the projects being implemented by government as well as NABARD in my state as well as in the northeast part of India. So all these things I prepare, I mean, quite exhaustively, and it was good for me. So yeah, overall the panels were quite cordial, and I'm able to express myself, yeah, in the interview.
That is really good. Was the interview more technical or it was more HR based?
It is both technical in for me in general for me.
Hmm.
Suppose they ask me what are the terms related to indirect financing.
Okay.
So there were some moments which I paused myself for say 4 or 5 seconds, but luckily I got through because I revised it a lot, I prepared it a lot. So one should maintain confident, but that confidence must be can be maintained only through exhaustive preparation.
True.
So once you prepare well, then automatically you will be confident. And once you got nervous, what the things you have remember, it will go off. So it is important to get confident, and to get confident is we should be prepared enough. Yes.
That is so true. This line is so true that you should have prepared well so that you will maintain your confidence that, okay, I know this answer. I just need 10 seconds, 20 seconds to to remember it. So now I
Right,
think
ma'am.
we have discussed, like, can you tell a little about the HR based questions that how they were?
Yeah. So I was asked what are the issues of agriculture in my areas.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we change it, or how can we do it better?
Hmm.
And one statement-based questions about cooperation has failed, but
Okay.
cooperation must succeed.
Okay.
So this statement was asked.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, regarding even the shifting cultivation. What are the
Okay.
issues with shifting cultivation?
Okay.
What are the way forward?
Hmm.
Yeah, these things are also asked.
So mostly the questions were from the agriculture, and from your biodata, there were no particular questions about your background or something like that.
Uh, yeah, one questions from my biodata. Since I did my engineering from Kerala,
Okay.
so one panel asked me why from Manipur to very far Kerala. So yeah, that
Okay.
is one from my biodata.
Okay. So now I think we are towards the end of the session. If you are comfortable, can you share about your marks for the interview and for the phase two?
Yeah, so I got 61 in English, 38
Okay.
in descriptive. So so I can improve it this one through more extensive practice. And let me say that I did not practice typing during my mains preparation. I simply make notes. So this is one mistake. So I request my fellow aspirants, since I know that I can type, I did not practice it. But there is one mistake. But fortunately, I am able to be in the final list. So please keep practice, even though you may know how to type. But practice is a must because competition is increasing every year. So one should not ignore all these things. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And how many marks did you get for the interview, if you can share?
I was not expecting these marks, but however, I'm lucky. I am getting average marks 30.
Okay, that is good. So now I think we are towards the end of the session. Any message for the aspirants out there that are preparing for the NABARD and that are preparing for other exams also? So for any message for them?
Yes, ma'am. With the less vacancy in NABARD, it is important that one should make a proper strategy, and one should visit or see the previous year questions. What are the kind of current questions? What are the trending questions they ask? And very importantly, there are some areas which NABARD is repeating the questions. For example, about bigger issues. It has been asked in both prelims and mains. I was surprised to see these questions. So one should know what are the important areas NABARD is interested in it. So accordingly, one should make notes. As I have said, there are very less time gap between prelims and mains. You cannot start mains after prelims. So you should do a integrated approach, because ALD and ESI in prelims is the same for mains. How it may be one is objective, one is descriptive, but the syllabus or the content is same. So one should try to do integration of this approach, and one should practice, and one should not ignore the speed, the time required and the what limit. All these things should be kept in mind during the preparation. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kai, for coming. And it was really great talking with you. And coming from the rural background and the agriculture background, I hope and I see that you will be able to do really good in the NABARD, and you will be able to really promote and uplift the agriculture and the rural areas. I hope you will do great, and all the very best for your upcoming life, I can say. Thank you for coming.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, one more information. If I'm not mistaken, I'm the only candidate from my state who got into this year. So
Okay.
I have a lot of burden, or I say a lot of interest in this thing, that what I can deliver in rural areas, especially the Northeast. And I'm thankful for being a part of EduTap. So it's been the last 2-3 years that I'm associated with EduTap materials, YouTube videos, and others. So I'll be missing EduTap, and I wish all the best EduTap to produce more result, and all the best to team EduTap. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.